Hi, welcome to the Panic Button. My name is Jessie, and welcome.
My name is Nina, and welcome. By the way, I'm wearing a temporary bridge right now on my top teeth, and the bridge and my gums, there's a space in between, so it's making me talk funny. So just in case you catch that.
I don't think she sounds that funny, but there's just a couple words. Oh, I have a stuffy nose, if you hear that.
Oh, so you're going to be talking funny too.
See? We're just some goofballs.
Okay, so the video we're going to be reacting to today is a video of Canada's hilarious woke new Democratic Party convention is going viral.
Today we are headed over to Canada, and we are going to go to their new Democratic Party's convention, where they get together to, quote, debate ideas, celebrate our shared values, and help shape the future of our movement. Now, it's a little difficult to debate ideas and to shape the future of your movement when you can't have a conversation because people are trying to pull cards for their point of privilege. Now, if you don't know what this means, within a leftist space, you can call for a point of privilege where you essentially can stop the conversation to verbalize whatever issue it is that you're experiencing. Chapter pronouns.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
It could be an issue you're experiencing because you are a woman, a person of color, a transgender individual, and it's basically to assert yourself within the room on the basis of your oppression. Does that make sense? It does to me because I lived it. When I was on the left working as a student organizer, we would have these sorts of...
So does it mean like you can interrupt whatever's going on and be like, I'm important, everyone has to listen to me?
Yeah, pretty much. So it sounds like it's a little card that says, you have this and this and this permission to interrupt these things because you have lived experience in it.
And your lived experience is more oppressed than the other people in the room?
It's yes. In their head, it's experience.
So if a black woman is talking and I'm a gay black woman, I could interrupt her because I have more oppression points than she does?
Only, it seems only on topics where being black isn't the president, but being a lesbian is. What if she's a black lesbian?
I guess I'm just confused at how the rules work.
I want to make a note because I wrote it really big on my board so I could tell everyone.
Yeah.
I just want to remind everyone, Canada fought over the word fart.
They did.
And I know that we just started this, but you should really look up Canadian Parliament fighting over the word fart. It's about a 3-minute video.
It's hilarious.
Where they spell out F-A-R-T because it's unparliamentary. You gotta watch it.
I guess you have to, so...
Anyway, you have to watch it. It's so fun.
Conversations and meetings, and you at any point could really interrupt this meeting to call out a point of privilege or to point out how something was going wrong in the conversation based off of your point of view and your identity. Now, we're going to watch this take place at this new Democratic Party convention, just so you can get a taste of it and ask yourself, why did this go viral? I think we'll have an answer really quickly.
I see that we are 1 minute ahead of schedule, and so I'm going to get out of here. The balloting co-chairs are returning, I believe. Now balloting co-chairs. There is a point. Let's hear the point on microphone 1.
And you can see a little bit of there's a point, a little bit of irritation on the face there. Because I imagine throughout the days of this conference, there have been many points of privilege.
I'm sorry, just real quick, point of personal privilege. I understand there's very little time and for delegates to speak, but early on the mic, it's hard as a racialized and transgender delegate to sometimes use this card and speak up, speak to somebody in front of me in line and ask, hey, this pertains to multiple intersecting parts of my lived experience. I'd like to speak. I was rejected when I talked, and it's frustrating when these are my rights being directly under attack right now in Alberta, and that a cisgender woman had spoken over me. And I understand her rights are important too. This pertains to her too, but I don't know. I hope that in the future, the federal NDP will also have a broader interpretation of the equity cards for speakers. That's all.
Okay, no.
I don't actually have a question. I'm just telling you that I didn't get to speak. And because of that, my fifis got hurt. And I hope that Ottawa, Canada, somehow can just please make my fifis stop hurting. I'm clearly a man in a dress, but...
A cis woman spoke over me, and because I have more oppression points as a trans person of Asian descent, well, I'm more important, so that's not fair. I'm special.
This is the equivalent of you fighting over the word fart.
Yeah, it's really the same thing.
This is why you have to watch that, audience, because I get nothing from you watching that except the pure joy of you understanding how dumb. Whenever someone says, oh, the American government is so dumb. They're always so dumb. I always reference that clip of Canada fighting over the word fart.
Yeah.
It was like 2019, 2020. It was late 20-teens, early 2020s, and they were literally fighting over the word fart.
But how can you get anything done if you're all fighting over who is more special?
Well, isn't their last president currently like an astronaut with Katy Perry or something?
Their former Prime Minister, Trudeau. Yeah, the Nepo baby Trudeau. Yeah.
Did you think that Canada was doing anything productive?
I don't think they're really doing many productive things. As close as we are to Canada, I don't really know much about their laws. I just know that they are way more extreme on the woke side than America is.
This is a perfect example of why the left eats its own.
Yeah, man, they can't even have conversations without arguing over who's more special.
You can't discuss things from any particular point because unless you have all the credentials in line and a little card that says, oh, I am special, you can't have an opinion. Or if you need to fight over the opinion for someone has to be more oppressed than someone else. You know what? Everyone gets dealt good and bad cards in life. Maybe some people get a few more good ones. Maybe some get a few more bad ones. That doesn't mean you have more of a right to an opinion. Everyone's voice is important. And maybe we should just go in order instead of going based off of oppression points.
Who's the most special person in the room? It would have to be like a Muslim person of color, transgender, non-binary, disabled, intersex, homosexual.
At this point, it'd be easier to just go based off of who has the most followers. It would take less time than listing off whatever you had.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that would kind of be the same thing. Who's the most popular? Except who thinks they're the most popular in their head? Who thinks they're the most special?
It's unfortunate because maybe in the past especially, there's been some points that have been on the left, not the right, that I have agreed with. Not today necessarily, but there have been in the past. And something like this makes it hard to agree with anything the left does because they will eat you for slightly disagreeing with them. So it pushes you more to the right, even if you're like a middle-minded person. Do you not agree?
I agree. I'm just wondering how they get anything done.
They don't. They just sit there and hand out cards. That's why she said the non-binary woman at the beginning of this with the big ears.
Yeah.
She goes, we're ahead of schedule by 1 minute. That means I get to go home. And then this fat dude comes up and goes, I'm sorry, nobody listened to me and I want to waste your last minute.
Yeah, I couldn't even understand what his point was.
There wasn't. The point was, literally, I didn't get to speak. You let a woman speak instead of me. That hurt my feelings, and I just hope next year the government can get it right.
Meaning put me ahead of
A woman.
a woman because I think I'm a woman.
Even though I'm acknowledging the fact that she deserves things too, my
But
feelings got hurt.
It's the but that completely cancels out the she has the right to
I used to go to therapy.
speak or feel anything.
And the reason I bring that up is because my therapist used to tell me that whenever I'd say but, it negated all the things I said before it.
Yeah, and you can always kind of, you always know when it's coming. You can tell when it's coming.
Yeah, if I sat there and for just taking it out of here and putting it in the context of the example I was giving, if I said, oh, I had a really good week, but then I got in this fight and this and that and blah, 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 blah. So I didn't have a really good week.
You were just waiting for me to tell you about the bad stuff that happened.
I was just prepping.
You were prepping. Yeah.
I was, but also,
Are
two
you
things,
listening?
Two things
Okay,
can be
here's
true.
the bad stuff.
But two things can be true. Putting but in there does negate. You can be like, I had a great week. Then I had this fight and it put a damper on things, but I want to get back to the good week. You know, like that can be a true statement.
Yeah.
But not, I had a good week until, but then all this things happen. Yeah. So putting but in there, oh, I understand she's a woman and she deserves the right to speak, but I'm a man and I think I'm a woman and that should be higher on the totem pole.
It is, according to him. It's like a room full of narcissists they're battling each other. It's a woke battle.
I'd rather
The battle of the weakest.
I'd rather just go in order of who got there first, or maybe get a panel together to like evaluate the questions they submit.
Yeah, but some people are in wheelchairs and they can't run up to the line. that would be like ableist or something.
When they walk in the door, they get the little sheet to fill out.
So whoever
They
shows
submit their
up first,
question.
but what if they have like time phobia or something and they can't show up on time? Is it a hair?
One that's just sticking right up there. Sorry. Okay. I fixed it. It was just one.
See, that's the problem is they've created so many rules that create other rules to the point where you can't,
There are no rules.
you can't create rules.
There's too many rules.
Yeah, they would negate other rules or they would go against other rules. They've actually turned themselves, it's like a row full of people with guns and they're all on the same side, but they're all in a circle pointing their guns at each other.
The Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, kind of.
Without pointing at each other.
So you guys you created your own misery, your own nonsense. You're negating your own rules because you've created so many, too many.
Way too many rules. That's the problem.
So even if they were to do, okay, whoever gets there first, it gets, they take a number. When you go to the amusement park and there's a wait to get onto a roller coaster. So you take a number and you have to be back by a certain time and you can get in line. Well, that would be against their morals because some people, they're too disabled to get anywhere on time, because like time phobia or whatever they said before. I can't remember that one TikTok we watched and she said she couldn't get anywhere on time.
Blindness.
Time blindness or whatever it is, yeah. So they couldn't even make that realistic rule. Whoever gets there first come, first serve, Can't do that because we made a lot of rules and this one goes against that. So point of privilege. It's so fucking stupid.
Isn't it?
Apparently at this conference, they had something called equity cards, and there were cards given out to individuals that they could pull and utilize at any moment to say, essentially, this impacts my identity more than the other identities of speakers who are about to pull this mic, and therefore I should be able to verbalize my opinion on this. Let's say you're talking about a trans issue, and you happen to also have somebody there who is trans, black, and disabled. Well, the trans, black, disabled person could pull their equity card and say, this issue impacts me more because it hits so many of my different identity characteristics that I should be able to speak, let's say, before a woman who is in the throes of gender dysphoria right now. Does that make sense? If not, it's okay. So now this person is essentially saying, even though we have these equity cards, the equity cards did not go far enough because they didn't cover my identity and the struggle that I have at this conference.
Yeah,
Let's keep
100%.
watching.
That's what
We'll
they're saying.
invite delegates to assist me in better using the card by forming a straight line
Oh my
behind the
God.
microphone.
Can't even see straight
with a
line.
prominently displayed equity card. If I see speakers ahead of you who are not holding a card prominently, it would be wrong of me to guess about their gender identity, and I will come to you.
This is why nothing can get done in a room like this. You're constantly worried about who you're offending. You're constantly worried about who is more oppressed than the other person who spoke before them. And there's no system capable of fixing all of these issues, largely because a lot of these issues are made up in our heads. And now it goes so far that in this woman's brain, when she says the word straight, to form a straight line, she has to roll her eyes because she has signified or used a word that references the straight sexuality, the straight identity,
So dumb.
heterosexuality. Let's watch that one more time. Let's watch her reaction to saying the word straight.
The card by forming a straight line behind the microphone. With a prominently displayed equity card, if I see speakers ahead of you who are not holding a card prominently, it would be wrong of me to guess about their gender identity, and I will come to you. This applies so far, according to your rules, for gender identities other than a dude, but it is open to us to change our rules as we like as we move forward into the bright and golden future. Thank you.
I'm curious how many men are in this room.
They're all
Just
wearing
like
skirts.
straight men who aren't trans or non-binary. How many of them actually spoke?
I think 90% of the people that are men are in dresses and claiming to be women. In that way, in that minimum.
I'm willing to bet it's probably more like 95.
I'm just trying to give you what I think in my head. But yeah, I think most of them, the only ones that aren't are there with their girlfriends.
Why would you go there if you don't get a chance to have your say?
Because your
You just-
girlfriend asked you to go with them.
Oh, so you're just like going there to watch the madness unfold?
That's why I say 90%.
How do you get anything done?
Do
You can't
gay
even
men?
speak correct. Like, you can't even speak in the way they want you to speak.
Do gay men get any privilege here?
Not if they're white.
Because they're
no.
just dudes, right?
Right. They're like way low on the totem pole.
God, you're just a dude. That sucks.
That sucks. Well, he could identify with having something like Tourette's or whatever. I mean, you could fake a lot of this
You
stuff.
could identify into
Suppression.
anything. It's an
Yeah.
identifier.
Aside from, like, I can't identify as Asian because I don't look Asian.
I could probably get away with it.
You probably could. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm not. I'm Puerto Rican.
Right, but you could be one of those people in that room and just lie about it. No one can. If anyone questions you, that's offensive.
I'm sorry, the lesbian and Puerto Rican aren't enough. Do you want me to come up with more? I have more, I'm sure.
You need to add like a disability on there.
I'm sure I could find something. I'm blind.
Yeah, I mean, just make something up.
I don't have to make something up. I got a fucked up
could.
family history. I could probably find something accurate. I might get Parkinson's.
Yeah, but what's the point of finding something accurate when you can just make something up and not have to prove it?
I could get Parkinson's. I could die from like a heart attack or a stroke. There's so many things that could go wrong. I don't have to lie.
But you could, if you wanted to.
It's not a lie, though. The thing is about the left is that everyone, like I said, gets good cards and bad cards. Some people are oppressed in some ways, and other people are oppressed in others. There are some white boys born into very poor families. And there are some black boys born into very rich families. And there's some white kids born into super rich families versus some white kids born into super poor families, some middle-of-the-road families. The fact of the matter is, yes, more African-American families in America have a lower income, but there's not like some catastrophic amount of poor black individuals to say that every black person you meet is going to be poor. Just like there's nothing to say that every white person is going to be rich.
Yeah. What's your point?
They're going off of assumptions.
Because
of these
you
kind of
can't
things.
question them. It would be offensive.
So even though you're saying like make things up, I don't have to make things up. At the end of the day, most people at one point or another have faced some form of oppression or have been different in one way or another.
Yes, but if you're a white male and you're not gay, it doesn't matter if you were born.
You're also not necessarily.
It doesn't matter if you were born like poor, living on the streets. Because you're white, you have a privilege and a male, straight male, that other people don't have, even if they have way more money than you and you're living on the street.
I'm not even just specifically speaking about money. I'm also speaking about family. There's a lot of white people who don't have a lot of family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black families that absolutely stick together no matter what.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's the norm on both sides, but that's the point. That's my point exactly. There is no norm based on race. There is an American family that everyone tries to emulate to one degree or another, and they either succeed or fail in similar ways. There's just as many single white mothers as there are single black mothers, in my opinion.
It's just
for
all based on
similar
assumption.
reasons. Yes.
Friends, let's hear the balloting co-chairs.
Let's not.
Even she, he, they, I don't know her gender identity, is, I think, getting overwhelmed with the prospect that this system has to go further into identifying people and making sure the right person gets to speak at the right
But she
time.
helped
This is
create it.
exhausting. How are you not tired? How is everybody here not completely overwhelmed by the idea that this is the current system that you're trying to set in place and that this is what you believe to be a golden future?
I have the answer. They're not overwhelmed because they think they're going to win. If you're constantly fighting something because you want to win it, if you're fighting for a prize, right? You're not going to get tired until you're absolutely pooped. You're going to keep going to the last minute, to the last bell, just like that last dude. Because guess what? These aren't the winners stepping up front. These are the drag your feet losers who wait and wait and wait. And then push and push and push for something to be on their side for once. They're going to keep doing it. This is never going to stop unless we stop acknowledging it.
But their own side's going to be constantly acknowledging it because they have to, or else they get kicked out.
And by we, I mean the left and everyone else. Everyone else has to just stop playing these games.
It really has become everyone else against the left, or the left against everyone else, I should say.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's them against the world,
They're
yeah.
the ones that are canceling people. It's not everyone else canceling them. It's the opposite.
Well, even then,
So,
we're kind
yeah.
of canceling them, but it's not working because they keep talking.
They keep canceling more and more people out of their group. They just keep picking them off one by one until their group's going to be so small. They're going to be insignificant.
They cancel themselves by pushing for crazy things, though. If we could just acknowledge that crazy is as crazy is, then maybe we could see some people who suffer from issues and try and offer them help that maybe we don't all agree with, but we could get along with because it's very rare and only in like extreme cases, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, we're pushing this down everyone's throats, and we're pretending that everyone whose fifis got hurt can transition, and that's the problem.
If I have no integrity at all.
Integrity Farms.
But I want a lot of attention and praise. All I have to do is make something up and then pretend to be that person. Like a lot of the fellas in this room who are identifying as female, those are those type of guys. They have no integrity whatsoever. They have no
Integrity
good character,
Farms.
nothing.
Well, no, if they had any bit of character, they wouldn't be coming up to a mic and saying, "You let a woman speak before me. That hurts my feelings." If they admired, we made a point earlier in the day to each other that a lot of these individuals transitioned to the parent they were closest to, right? If you had respect for your mother, would you really be doing that? Saying, "Oh, you let a woman speak before me"? No, you'd respect women if you had respect for your mother.
Yeah, but if your mother has babied you your entire life, you don't need to respect her.
Well, the thing is
you
that
know?
a lot of mothers, when they have sons, they don't demand respect because they like placate to them for some reason, which I don't understand.
Right. That's why these guys who are identifying as women don't respect women because they don't even respect
they've had
their
a mother.
mom.
Yeah, they've had a mother that allowed them to be. You ever
Absolutely.
seen? I know I keep saying Integrity Farms, but if you've ever seen South Park and how Cartman's mom and him interact in the show,
Yeah.
it's most often okay, honey.
Yeah.
and she's just fucking fuck yeah, blah, 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 blah. And
I've
so
seen it.
so I'm more or less just generally
Oh, okay.
covering. I didn't want to drag it, but I figured it was general enough.
Yeah.
That is, I feel, how a lot of these kids were raised and why they act this way, because they never had resistance. They just got away with it. They got away with being the center of attention as far as they wanted to, with getting everything they wanted. And now they're going to complain about their fifis getting hurt because at least their mommy listened to that.
And when they get older and they want to move out, well, then they don't have the mother praising them anymore because they're not living with them. So they either stay living with their mother or they develop an identity that couldn't get them the praise that they're lacking because they don't live with their mom anymore.
The amount of men that live with their mothers and like into their older years is actually kind of shocking to me these days. I live in like a house that was converted into an apartment building. You know this.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've said this here. I live in that building, and there are 2 other units. I live alone in one, and the other 2 units are both women in their 60s or 70s with their late 30s to 40-year-old sons.
Yeah.
Now, why? I don't talk to them. I'm not asking that. But why is that such a, like, how is it so predominant that there's mirror images of it in where I live?
It's like that coddling kind of mothering. You know, they don't have a male like a husband or even a boyfriend who's a dominant figure, like someone who takes charge.
Right,
So
I haven't
the
seen a
mom has
dad.
to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
No
the
one has
mom
a car.
Right. So the only male figure in the woman's life is her son, and so she babies him until he can't go off and fly on his own.
Failure
You know?
to launch kind of situation.
It's exactly that.
And so for me, I'm a 27-year-old. I've been living there for 4 years. So I moved in there at 22, 23 years old, right? I've been there for over 4 years now. And I have a car. I pay for my own stuff. I live alone. Meanwhile, underneath me, there's 2 sets of that exact situation. And it's just something that, like, if there's only 3 and 2 out of 3 are that situation, how many situations are like that out there?
There's a lot. I'm sure of
That's
it.
what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to judge these people. I'm sure that maybe they had hard life, maybe they had hard situation. I'm not trying to judge them, but it is kind of odd, don't you think?
I would definitely be judging them. Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say.
It is
It raises
odd.
an eyebrow, right?
Obviously, yeah. That's pretty weird.
I think the one guy has a bike,
Like a bicycle?
like a regular 2-wheeled bicycle you pedal.
Yeah.
Not like
Does
a
he have
kid
training
bike.
wheels too?
No. But like, don't get me wrong. I live in a city for the most part, not a big one, but a city.
Yeah.
So I could see navigating a bike to get your needs, but
But what needs do you have when mommy gives you everything?
I see groceries get dropped off and DoorDash and stuff like that. So obviously they're fine. I don't know what happens. I don't know what they do for work. I'm so curious about the like situations, but I'm not gonna ask.
I don't know, man. These are the same guys who like hate women. Or like they're bitter about women because women don't want them because they are who they are. But it's like you can't get mad at people because they don't want you, because you're not wantable. Just because your mom gave you everything doesn't mean that she's like every woman. So they like hide in this little shelter nest thing with their mom forever. And they never grow up. They're like Peter Pan.
I don't know.
Weird.
Let's keep watching.
I'm directed to a point on microphone 3.
Point of information, I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to bring a point of privilege around an emergent issue with some job loss in my workplace.
If it is impairing your ability to participate in the meeting, it is a correct point of privilege. If you'd like an announcement to be made from the stage, we can arrange for that, and then the delegates can hear it from here. Not right now.
So, okay, bring it to you.
Bring it to me.
Thank you.
We'll find a way. Good?
Okay, see, this is what happens when we tell everybody that they're oppressed. This is what happens when we tell everybody that they have to break down their identity based off of these different like tier system levels that we've put together for them to determine when they get to speak, when they're privileged, when they are oppressed, who they're oppressing, if they're oppressors. It's just utterly confusing, utterly terrifying to think that this could be the future of not only Canada, but our nation here in the US. And when I tell you leftist meetings here in the US look a lot like this as well, they do. And we're going to get this up.
What was the point of that old lady?
I think she was just asking if she's allowed to speak, but I didn't really understand.
Right. It was really hard to, like...
It sounded like she had an issue at work, and she wanted to talk about it, but she didn't understand if she was allowed to talk about it. And then they said, well, you got to bring it to us to confirm if you can talk about it. That's what I got. What did you get? Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, what did you get? Because I have no freaking clue.
By the end of this video, let's watch one more clip out of this NDP meeting in Canada.
Thank you, Delegate. There's a point of privilege on microphone 1, then we'll go to microphone 3. Go ahead, Delegate.
Yes, hello. I was standing here with my gender equity card before you called on the previous speaker. That's my point of privilege that I would like to raise.
I will explain the speaking order, which is fixed, that I cannot amend, which is the pro-con rotation. You can move yourself up a line that you're standing in.
I am pro, and I was...
We went...
You went pro, con,
we went pro, and my plan was to go con. The speaker at con mic 3 also has a speaking card.
Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner. And while I understand in Ontario, we know this is equity, even if that, this was also used inappropriate in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a Black woman have no value outside of this space.
Okay.
What?
I'm gonna need a break after this. I'm gonna need a nap. I think these people are gonna need a nap too. You know what?
Can you explain that to me? What the hell just happened? I'm listening to them and I just don't get it.
I don't understand what she specifically was talking about. She did discuss the misuse of that card, and then she clarified. She didn't tell me what the misuse was.
Yeah, what was the misuse?
We don't know.
She said something about gender.
She said that as a Black woman, she does not like how it was used, right? So I got that. Message received, but don't know what it was still.
You're not being specific.
And then she wanted to clarify that outside of this room, these cards mean nothing. And yes, that is true. Outside of this room...
She's not as special, right?
It sounds like she's still complaining about not being special. Yeah. But it also is a good point, which she's not realizing probably, is that these cards mean nothing outside of this room. The only people who actually care about those cards in any type of context are the people who know you personally. Know your lived experience, care about your opinions. You know who doesn't? The person sitting on a panel who gets one question from you. Does not give a crap. They gave you that card to make you feel better, to make you feel like you had a chance to speak, when they might not have even let you from the beginning. So that's my take. What's yours?
Well, the person before said that they couldn't speak, and then the person after, the pro-Palestine woman, I'm assuming because of what she was wearing, she was complaining about the cards not being important outside of that room. She might have a high ranking in the room, but outside of the room, she doesn't have a high ranking, and she's oppressed. And then someone used the card inappropriately, pertaining to gender, but she didn't specify. So really the only message I got from that was, I'm oppressed when I leave this room, and I'm a little special when I'm in this room, but not as much as I want to be.
But nobody cares when I leave this room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Madness.
Keep this system going. At this rate, y'all are going to get nothing done. Okay, nothing's moving forward in Canada if this is the way in which you guys are working on your left-leaning movements. Welcome to the new Democratic Party, I guess. It is no wonder why it'd be so hard to achieve something in this room. You can't say without a point of privilege card being pulled on you. Oh my gosh. And if you don't think this is happening in the United States of America, let me show you some clips from our Democratic...
Wait. So if someone is talking about like lesbians, right, and it's a
Then we can run up with our cards, right?
but not if it's a like a Lily Tino type of person because he has more hierarchy than just the white
No,
lesbian or
'cause
the Puerto Rican lesbian.
No, because I win because I have Puerto Rican. He loses because
he's
he's white.
and he's straight.
Yes.
So
Trans is really his only level.
wait, but technically, according to their rules, he would be a lesbian as well. So the only thing you have like up on him is the fact that you're Puerto Rican because he can't identify as Puerto Rican. That's the only like race is the only thing that people can use and
Not
not
a trump card, yeah.
and not fake in this room. Everything else you could fake. You could fake being a lesbian. I could fake being intersex. I could fake being trans. But you can't fake being a black, like being a person of any other color than white.
Yeah. I also want to point out before we carry on that I grew up in very white areas.
Yeah.
They called me out like a black sock and a load of whites.
Just to call you Dora the Explorer.
They did. Like and they
so
they
fucked
when I
up.
moved from a richer white area that my parents were renting in. We moved from there to a very rural countryside white, dominantly white area. I was 8.
It's farm country.
Yes, I was 8. And they started asking me if I was in gangs.
They'd ask you for your green card.
They asked me for my green card. And now say it's from the parents, say it's from the kids. They called me out like a sore fucking thumb. Mm-hmm. And I know that I'm white passing, or, my dad is half white, my mom is Puerto Rican and happens to be very light-skinned. Those kids called me out that fast.
You like white adjacent, right? Something like that.
I don't care.
What do
The
they say?
point is, it doesn't matter. You don't know someone's history. You don't know what kid was bullied, what kid wasn't bullied. You don't know what their background was, if they got bullied for being poor, for being brown, for being different.
Or they were born to millionaire parents.
My brother looks like a completely normal white guy for the most part, but he is also Hispanic, and he also has spina bifida, which is a literal disability. And you wouldn't know that from looking at him. Does he not get his oppression card?
No, because you have to see it in order to believe it, according to them.
He can lift his shirt up, and you can see the multiple surgeries he's had to have on his back. The fact that he can walk in itself is a miracle. And he would have to prove himself to speak at all in front of these people.
Yeah, that's why I think there's not a lot of like white straight guys in that room because they wouldn't be able to speak. They could only just listen.
I mean, I'd say just straight guys in that room. Cis straight guys,
And what
like
about
they'd say.
what cis straight guys of color?
I think of color. My brother's of color, but if he's too white looking, they're not going to listen.
Right, because it has to be visual. You got to see the oppression.
Now, he is
first.
a little darker than me just naturally, but still. It would be the same argument, the same fight. He's straight. Don't
Well, you
get me wrong,
definitely don't
but-
look white. You don't look Irish. Your brother doesn't look white or Irish.
No, my brother's darker than me. You've seen pictures. You've seen...
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what's this craziness?
National convention meeting, and you let me know if it all sounds similar to what you're seeing here.
The rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer,
Oh, I remember this.
the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced. With the results of the previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender.
So another male?
So again, this is what we have to do for this vice chair race. We have to elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender.
Male or female?
To ensure our process accounts for male, female, and non-binary candidates, we conferred with our RBC co-chair.
You didn't mention trans.
Nope, non-binary.
That's offensive, according to the woke crowd. Because yes, non-binary might be trans, but you're not including trans people. They're going to get mad.
Okay.
Our LGBT caucus co-chair, and others to ensure that the process is inclusive and meets the gender balance requirements in our rules.
Oh my God, this is like Hollywood.
That's enough for me. Maybe I have PTSD. When I was in left-leaning meetings, we had to do this thing called community agreements, which were basically rules that everybody agreed upon before the meeting could even start. And they would write all these little catchy phrases for, let's be honest, some bullshit rules. Things like don't yuck my yum, or stand up and speak up, or just let the most oppressed person in the room speak first. And you had a group of grown adults sitting in this room agreeing to these community agreements before anybody could actually get into the heart of what people were there to be speaking about. And then even when you do get into the meeting, people are they're interrupting with their point of privilege to make it known that the rules and the agreements have been set aside for a moment, or that they've been ignored, or that they're feeling oppressed within the room. Nothing's getting done, y'all. Nothing's getting done. And here is another clip. This is out of the United States, at the Democratic Socialist Convention, where these points of privilege are being pulled time and time and time again. So when we say that the West has a problem, it's the West. We are sharing this struggle.
Quick
Point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Can I just say that by trying to make life easier for the quote-unquote oppressed, you're making life difficult for everybody else.
I think that's what they want.
But by also doing that, you're going to make it difficult for someone who is oppressed, but not as oppressed, is like the most oppressed in their eyes.
Yeah, but they don't care about the most oppressed because they want their level of oppression in their eyes to be taken care of, because they want free stuff. They want the accolades.
But you're creating.
They don't care what they're creating as long as they get what they want.
Yeah, but by getting what you want, they're also not getting what they want. You want to make life easier. You want everyone to get what they want. But at the same time, it's not about
any of that.
It's not about any of that. It's about who's the most important.
You want to win that, not you.
It's about the individual. It's not the collective.
Yes.
Because if it was the collective, they wouldn't be complaining to each other constantly in this meeting.
They're pretending it's a co-op game, but it's actually PvP.
Absolutely. They're trying to convince everyone else, too, that it's like
it's
they're
co-op.
a community. Yeah, it's all a collective. No, it's not. We've seen your meetings. Y'all are yelling at each other, complaining.
All just fighting.
It's obnoxious.
And what do you get done?
Guys.
Nothing.
First of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus.
Okay, but you are a white male. Mm-hmm. So you're not really that important right now. I know you got some like ear issues, but no, you're just not that important. So, you know, if a black lesbian comes up, she's going to have her point of privilege and say, you know, what Dale said was like, he has a right to say it, but this white male in the room and dictating and mansplaining is making me feel uncomfortable as a black lesbian.
I don't think this is what's going to happen, but it'd be really funny if all these gender nonconformists were like, make him leave, he's white.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised.
No, but I expect it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker against name, chapter, pronouns?
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
How dare you?
Okay.
Quick point of privilege once again.
Okay.
Because you guys.
Once again, hi, James Jackson, Sacramento DSA, he, him. I have already asked people to be mindful of the chatter of their comrades who are sensitive to sensory overload, and that goes double for the heckling and the hissing. It is also triggering to my anxiety. Like, the be comradely doesn't just...
Look at this room. Everyone in this room has anxiety. They have depression, and most importantly, they have narcissism. So him being up here as some white dude talking about his like anxiety issues, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but honestly, and I don't mean this in any kind of way, he's low-key the bravest of the bunch getting up there as a white man, being like, could you guys quiet down? But then they're like hissing at him and stuff.
But he's not asking them even. He's
demanding.
He's like he's telling them.
The comrade stuff is very Animal Farm, guys, not gonna lie. Very Animal Farm, can't take it seriously.
Comrade.
Comrade Snowball.
Russia. It is my comrade. Everybody stop talking.
Okay,
anxiety. Dale. Okay, Dale.
isn't just for like, let's keep things civil or whatever. It's so that people aren't going to get triggered and so that it doesn't affect their performance as a delegate.
Excuse me, when a white man is in a room mansplaining to us, I feel triggered.
I know, that's the point of privilege that's going to come up next.
Like, you're like the last person who should be speaking in this room.
That's what I said.
Your need to express yourself is important, but
God.
your need to express yourself should not trump or
I see that Trump. No one's clapping. Wait, he said Trump. I'm triggered.
He's saying all the wrong things, man.
Oh, man. He's just stepping on his toes.
Yeah.
For me, it could be because I'm not engaging, but it also is because everyone's doing this. And that's really important because those loud bursts of noise, even though this is a noisy space, when we can do something like reducing that, that's really important. So please don't clap, shoot up these. We have a lot of disabled comrades and
how did they drive here?
Horns and traffic and everything, yeah.
And big
they had to be sedated.
Semi-trucks? Were they just like popping a whole bunch of pills or something?
They had to get sedated.
Like, how did they get there? If they can't sit in this room without people clapping, how the hell did they go anywhere? Like, why even leave the house? If you can't control your surroundings at all and you need to control your surroundings, why are you even in that room? You're insane.
Privilege points, right?
You're trying to control every single person because you think you're more important than everyone else and what their needs are, while simultaneously saying that other people's needs are important, especially the ones that are oppressed in your eyes. Like, what a bunch of baloney.
They don't believe what they're saying.
No, they don't.
Are invisible disabilities. You don't know who it is that is having a more difficult time navigating this space, and this space was not created with all of their needs in mind.
I think I'm going to short circuit if I continue watching any more of this.
Me too. So we're done with this video. I feel a little nauseous, actually, from watching this. It actually stressed me out more.
Because it's just a bunch of... We never found out what they were doing. It was all just fighting.
Being in that room, oh my God, I would be so anxious. Not just because of the issues I have, just in general as a normal person. A normal person would be just... I would start pulling out my hair. This is insane.
This is insane, and it's not a productive way to have any conversation.
It's just a whole bunch of people.
Imagine
in a room with a purpose that never gets fulfilled because everyone's trying to claim being the most oppressed.
Imagine having a conversation with your significant other, an important one, something that really matters. And every time you bring up a point, they say, point of personal contention, or whatever the hell they want to say here. It doesn't end in a productive conversation.
It doesn't get anything done.
No. And so that's really what we spent this whole time to learn, that the left does nothing but placate.
Which is why I think they hang on to the whole Trump bad thing, because that's the only clear messaging they have that no one can point of privilege out of.
Point of privilege. Yeah.
Because any messaging they have, someone else who's more oppressed can complain about it. But Trump bad's the only one that really works. That's why they never have a message and they never have a plan of action. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
They're just like so disorganized. Their protests are very organized, but that also doesn't do anything. That doesn't actually get anything done. So their whole purpose is to spin their wheels, get nothing done, and just yap a lot?
To take money and win when they can.
Take money. But how do you get money from people who don't want to give it to you?
Because I'm sure they had a bunch of sponsors and this is government funded.
So you're just actively shaming people into giving you cash.
Yeah, and these people who are getting paid to do it are convincing these people who aren't getting paid to do it that they're right.
So they're just preying on the weak-willed.
To get what they want, which is money and power.
Yeah.
So like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, join our memberships to keep this channel going. We will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. The camera's going to die eventually.